welcome the next speaker, Grégory Grain. Grégory is Managing Director of FRIOP, and FRIOP is supporting entrepreneurs and startups in Canton Fribourg. So Grégory will now explain a little bit more details, the methodology of design thinking. So Grégory, whenever you're ready, you can share your presentation and the stage is yours.
Thank you. Here we go. I guess you see my screen and my presentation now. It's a pleasure for me. It's a pleasure for me to be the design thinking wizard of this NTN Booster initiative. And I have 25 years of having used design thinking, and I will try to share my passion for this methodology, which is human-centered, in some few minutes. Because I know after you have a nice workshop to hold, so let's go fast. I would like to share with you a first number. This is the number of years that the most famous analysts are giving as an average lifetime to the most successful companies nowadays. That means if you read the Fortune 500, for example, and you see all these companies, they have an average lifetime of 12 years. For sure, some of them will last for many, many years. Some of them will die in some months. But the average lifetime nowadays of a successful company is 12 years. And I don't know for you, but for me it rings a bell because I still recall my first economic class in the middle school, and my professor was telling me companies, businesses are here to last. They are robust. They will last hundreds of years. And Grégory, you will work 40 years in the same company. That's going to be your career. And I'm a bit puzzled now because we are talking about 12 years. And I think the world has changed since my first economic class, and that we are living in a fast-moving world nowadays. And if I try to recall what happened 12 years ago, actually 12 years ago, the iPad didn't exist. 12 years ago, Airbnb didn't exist. 12 years ago, WhatsApp didn't exist. 12 years ago was just the beginning of maps and GPS on your mobile phone. Today, you are using it every day to discover a new restaurant. 12 years ago, crowdfunding didn't exist, and you had to knock at the door of your bank to get some money to fund your project. 12 years ago, the consumer behavior was completely different. He or she was not writing you a huge Facebook post to complain about your product that everybody will read. He was calling the call center, and he was not buying online as much as today. 12 years ago, a corporate company didn't have the same requirement as today if you have to deliver them a service. They would ask you for they would send a request for proposal and wait for your 60 pages proposal. Nowadays, they wait for a prototype tomorrow so that you can show them what you want to deliver them and what you want to offer them. So my point here is that we are living in a very moving market with a lot of challenges, and in a world that is changing every day and transforming every day. And as an organization or a company, the key question is, how do we stay on course in such a world? Many people say, we need to innovate. We need innovation in our organization. We need innovation in my company. I actually have a problem with this word because I lost its definition. There are so many definitions of it. People are using it every day in every kind of discussions that I think what we need more is creativity in our organization to answer to all the challenges I said before. And I also think that technology is not always the answer. I see many people saying, oh, I need to invent a new technology, a new product so that I can jump on the market, so that I can revive or that I can find a second life to my company. Well, this is a path, but this is not the only way to do it. There are so many problems to solve in our society that there could be some ways to find solutions to solve those problems in a creative way or in a unique way, so that you can find a new business for your company. And when we talk about solving problems, design thinking is most probably one of the most interesting approach to solve societal problems, for example. The first reason for that is because you don't jump directly in generating ideas. If I give you a challenge, if I give you a problem from our society, I will not ask you to define ideas right now, just from what you think people need and want because you believe you know what they want. We will ask you to go on the field from day one and to really discover the problem and to find a, let's say, creative way to answer it and to a unique way to answer it in a very open innovation way to work. And the key for that is to work in interdisciplinary team. And what is also very interesting with design thinking, it's customer-centric. You always put, let's say, the customer or the user or the citizen in the center of the problem you want to solve and try to solve it for him or for her. The design thinking methodology is really human-centered, as I just said, and it's actually taking its roots from the principles and the processes of the designers. That means the people who are designing furniture, products, toothbrushes, etc. And to start with the design thinking methodology, you need first a challenge that you formulate, like, how might we? For example, how might we make leguminous plants more attractive and their benefits better understood by the consumer? Would be a challenge, and we would start to work. And we would start to work on it as an interdisciplinary team with people coming from various experiences, different nationalities maybe, different companies, different specialties and expertise, and even different history of life. It's a simple process in 5 steps, like the 5 fingers of the hand. You start by a step called empathize, and you finish by something test. And between all those steps, you can use a variety of tools and techniques that are available. I have my own toolbox, and most probably if you talk to another design thinking freak or expert or wizard, he will have his own toolbox too. Let's go quickly in those 5 phases so that you know what they are about. But before, I would like to say that the most interesting, or let's say also the most challenging thing from design thinking, it's that it's a double diamond. You spend your time in opening your mind to everything, and then you converge, you focus to one idea, and then you open again, and then you converge again. So it's a very interesting mind gymnastic that you have to be trained on, and it's very inspirational. The first phase, called empathize, is about understanding the problem, because I give you a how might we challenge, as I said before, with the leguminous plants, but is the fact that the benefits are not known to the consumer really what is really the problem? This is what I think. So maybe you might want to go on the market, you might want to go in supermarket, in shops, everywhere, and groceries to understand if this is the problem. And then you observe people, you collect insights, and from those insights, you will refine, you will adapt your problem, which is the phase 2. Is the problem that I gave you, that we started to work on, really the one? Can we frame it again? Can we define it? Maybe it's not how might we make leguminous plants more attractive, but it could be known because nobody knows that. And then we want to change the sentence from the challenge based on what you observed on the market before. And then you move in the next steps where finally you start to generate ideas, and only now to answer in a creative way to the challenge you defined or you redefined. And here it's about brainstorming and generating ideas. Once you have an idea, maybe on a post-it, maybe on a virtual post-it like we do nowadays in video conferences, you need to structure your idea a bit more. You need to make it tangible. You need to create a representation of it, a prototype of it maybe, so that you can expose it to other people and get feedback. So this phase is about really making your idea concrete and tangible, and you are ready now to go on the field again and to test it with real consumers, with real people who are facing the problem you wanted to solve at the beginning. That was my fastest crash course of design thinking, to try to catch up with the time. But what I would like to say now also, it's not the end. Doing the first 5 steps is a first step, the first phase. And then you can iterate again to one of the steps before, because, for example, when you test your first prototype, you find out that you completely forgot to go to interview a part of the people who are very important, and you go again to the empathy phase. Or you realize that you could generate a better idea, so you go back to the ideation phase. And you can do that as many times as you need to come up with something that becomes a real result. The best way to learn design thinking, I believe, is not to attend to classes and to maybe a presentation that lasts more than 15 minutes than this one now. It's the best way is to practice it. So the way I would recommend to do it is to really go through a bootcamp, which can last 1 day or 4 days, depending on how you cut it in parts, with 4 sessions from the challenge and the field exploration to your prototype that you show to everybody or to people you invited. With that, I hope I gave you a fast but clear overview of the design thinking. I am available anytime. You can find me on LinkedIn to exchange on that topic and on that methodology. But my last word is to encourage you to jump in it and to try it as soon as you can. Thank you.